Welcome to Forest Alchemy, where love, land, and community converge in a dance of wild creativity.
We're Mike and Allie, forest dwellers and soul partners, sharing stories and projects from our permaculture community homestead. Come gather by the fire, and let's explore the magic of connection, creation, and the living land.
Hello again.
After a longer break than we expected, we're back.
Yeah, so we were at Pyro Music Festival down in Grand Junction, Michigan.
Beginning of June.
Yeah, moved here from Ohio. And while we were there, we interviewed some musicians, we interviewed some friends, just asking about what community means to them.
And even just random people as we were walking around.
Yeah.
We stumbled upon a group of people.
Yeah, it was really fun. But in true squirrel fashion, we got home and got caught up in all we've got going on here and just been struggling to find the time to record this intro. And then because we have all the separate recordings, we have to piece it together, and we've been trying out a new transcription software. So it's just been a lot more steps. So it's taken a little bit longer.
We've been trying to make this podcast as easy as possible with as few steps as possible because with ADHD, and we all know out there, it is very easy to get caught up in the little steps before the thing. But this episode was a little bit more complicated, so we got stuck. But that's okay, because we're getting through it, and here we are.
Yep. I'm trying to use a new transcribe software so that we can have transcription of it. So if anybody just wants to read, and it helps with the search engine algorithm, so that we can reach more listeners and get our message to more ears.
Yep. So here we go. This is a really, really fun episode. We've been really excited to release it. And basically the main theme of this is Mike and I were asking people at the music festival, what does community mean to you? Because music festival, that was my first community.
Yeah.
Really.
Same. Mine wasn't necessarily music festival. It was like small community gathering festival type things.
Yeah. I went to my first music festival in college, and I went and I was just like, oh my gosh, there are all these people like me.
And the first time I went to a Labor Day gathering called Sapphire Rising at this community that was down in Bloomingdale at the time called One Love Oasis. And for the first time ever, I got to see my three boys just thrive like I've never seen before. And that was this is what we need.
Yeah. Yeah, and every time we go to Pyro together, I remember the first time we went, I was like, I need this to be my everyday life.
Yeah.
We need to just have these people around us, playing music, having fun, collaborating.
Yeah, working
just
together. Just
want it to be my
projects.
everyday, doing events, working on projects, homesteading together, farming together. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we're creating here. So,
and all the people that go to music festivals, they're all community humans too, even if community looks different for everybody. So that's what this episode's about, and we're really excited to share it.
Yeah, we hope you enjoy it. Please share this with your friends. We're trying to increase our reach.
So we're starting a intentional community in Montague, and we kind of came into community first through music festivals and kind of the family that comes from going to different music festivals. So, and by the way, this is Chase Makai, everyone.
How's it going, everybody? Good to be here.
You just did an incredible set here at Pyro Music Festival. But anyway, so we want to know what is your idea of community? What does community mean to you?
Community means to me somewhere that you can feel safe and comfortable in your own skin without having to try too hard, and just family and having that feeling of being free, and you don't have to try to be a particular way, or you're just yourself, and it's somewhere that you can feel safe to be yourself.
Yeah.
And I know you've been music festivals have been where you guys have played a lot, and I came across you I didn't know that you were with Medicine for the People before.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody posted a video of you in the Pyro group a few years ago of you playing an acoustic song with your family, and that was just so beautiful to me. So that's like what I know of your music is what I've heard of you online playing with your family.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I'm blessed to have been raised by musicians, and
oh wow.
we didn't always sing together because I was a bit of a rebellious teenager, and I was like, I will never play music, and I'm not going to be a musician like you.
Funny.
And, funnily enough, it's definitely I am that. I became that, but it's been a beautiful journey, and to be able to sing with your family is something very special, and I hold that very close to my heart.
Mm-hmm. And your band kind of becomes your family too.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
The band, a good band is a family for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And we all get along really well, and
it's important when you spend so much time together.
Yeah, it's hard to be stuck in a van with 4 other dudes, but
Right.
it definitely helps if you all get along, like
For sure.
And these
like
guys
intentional community, all living together. You got to figure out how to communicate.
And that's our mission, is to travel around and try to bring as many people together as possible, and it's not about us, it's about just that, bringing people together and creating a space for people to have a good time and feel safe to do so.
Well, you did that tonight for sure.
Thank you.
It was an amazing set.
Yeah, it was so fun, man. I feel so blessed to be able to do this, and come a long way to be here, and we've driven probably I don't know how many miles, but probably thousands of miles so far. Started in Texas, and then we went to Arkansas, and we drove to, there's Victor. Hey Victor, love you, brother. Anyway, it's just it's really good to be here, and I appreciate everyone's love and everyone's attention and space, the space to be able to share and create.
For sure.
I think that's the most important thing for us all, to be able to create. It's good for our souls to be creating something, whatever it is, art or anything, growing food, planting trees, creating life,
right.
Bringing life to.
And you need to feel safe in order to have that vulnerability to be creative. So it's good to have that family community that you can be creative in.
Definitely. So where are you guys starting your...
in Montague.
Where is that?
About 2 hours. Was it 2 hours?
An hour and a half to 2 hours north here. We're about 5 miles from the lakeshore.
Cool.
Inland.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'll have to come and check you guys out.
Yeah, permaculture community up there.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're going to start doing music up there,
Bill
too.
Mollison's one of my heroes, man.
Oh, awesome. Oh, yeah, Australia.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
I love that, just, it's one of my other passions, is growing food and
beautiful.
Being in the garden and, just being a part of nature. And it's so important for us all to be connected to that.
Yeah.
So you have a garden back home?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yep. I probably not as it's a bit of a sandy soil, so
that's what we have.
Same with it.
You gotta
we're close to the lake.
You gotta work a lot to get
So we say soil is our first crop. Like we're growing soil, we're building.
That's the first thing. Yeah. You guys know what's up. Yeah, you gotta. If the soil ain't good, then the plants ain't gonna be happy.
Right.
So
you gotta feed the soil.
Yeah.
Grow the soil.
But we could talk about permaculture on the next podcast if you want.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for chatting with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for playing here. I was excited to see your name on the set list.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, you guys take care, and we're off to the next destination.
Have a good trip.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we're sitting here with Amber Echo.
At Pyro Music Festival. She played a set yesterday, and you're playing one on Sunday.
I am. We think it's at 2:30.
Yeah.
It might be at 3:30.
It is whenever it's meant to be.
At festival time, they can write it down. It's still not going to be that.
Yeah. So we were having fun talking with Amber yesterday about community.
Yeah.
And, you know, music festival is like a community. It's what introduced me to community. And, you know, music, sharing music and healing together. So we just want to talk to people about what community means to them.
Yeah, I think that's a great subject. I mean, I've always felt like music festivals are practice at community, really, because it's just like between the realms of existence a little bit. Like to even find a music festival that like is a family festival where kids can be there and you're camping the whole weekend, you're like got the luck of the gods to even like discover it, you know. And then when you get there and you see artists and vendors and musicians and even the food vendors or like anyone selling things looking differently than what you would see in mainstream, you know, like really doing their best. And anytime we buy from each other, it's literally like beating their dreams, you know. It's an excellent practice in community, I think.
And there's a lot of trade here too.
Yes, trade too, which is great, because if you have a community that's thriving, right, and then you visit another community that's thriving, you may be thriving for a different reason, you know, and if trading amongst communities is just a powerful asset thing to do, I think.
Right. Yeah, we talk about one of our goals for community is having our village of people that live together, but then also having this like branch of exchanging of resources with surrounding communities and with local farmers too, because it's so hard to connect the local farmers with people to buy, and there's so much wasting of produce. You know, if we're like, so community is this like big picture for us of finding these places where we can exchange creative energy and things.
I think that's great, because really, I mean, there's so many things that we can experience, but like someone's gonna really love like growing things. Like some people might like specifically love growing like a unique thing, you know, that might take you a lot of effort to do. It might not be your heart passion to do that, but maybe you make things, you know, and maybe you love making those things, but Mr. Grower over here does not like making the things, but he really wanted to trade this special thing that he grew, you know, and it really creates trust and friendship and camaraderie, like, you know.
That's what we're currently experiencing. Like we were at our last house, like it was just us. So we were doing the garden, we're doing the building of the things, the making of the food every day, and taking care of the kids. And at our new place, where we have community now, like there's us and there's another family there, and or two other families there. We just haven't had time to do gardens. So like last year we had a baby, and like we totally didn't get anything planted. Like we had no garden. And we were hopeful. We were like, okay, we're gonna get a shelf set up, and we're gonna get seed starts going in like March, and that ended up not happening. But Liberty and Tony, the two other people there, that's more their passion. Like planting the things. So
and the stage of life that they're in, because that's a big part of it too, is like we all go through these different stages.
And Liberty didn't get a chance to plant there for a while either, but this year she's with Tony working with her, like they're really busting ass, like putting in gardens. Like they've done put in a lot in 2 gardens, and then we come out there and like you know, give a hand when we can. And I'm a compost builder, so like even though I haven't been helping with the planting, I'm working on the compost pile, and then we're also doing the ducks. So they were wanting to get everybody wants to get like raise things that lay eggs. Like, eggs are so expensive right now. So we took on the duck project.
I love the family of like the family feel of Pyro. And like
I do too.
You come here and just like people are just like, you meet them and it's just that instant connection of like,
they're like, happy Pyro, like just yelling. You're walking by, happy Pyro. It was so weird at first. I was like, am I supposed to yell it back? Like I'm just like, thanks. Oh gosh, and I'm still walking, like, learning the like, you know. But it was very welcoming. It was really nice. And actually, the first time I ever came to Pyro was because someone online was giving away a free ticket for a family, like trying to give tickets for a family that was creative and like stuff, and I just like told them about my family and like what we are, and he was like, sends me a message later, and he said, because he was like, I'm really well off, I can afford to do this, I want to give to the community who needs to be here, you know. And he's like, I already gave my tickets away, but I just want you to know I'm buying more for you and your family because you need to be there. And so like that was our first time.
What year was that?
I think it was 2022.
Okay.
I think.
You
Yeah.
were there.
Yeah, one of the Southington off-road ones.
Yeah, I was just figuring myself out and really like going through life, trying to figure out how to. We already had the bus. For the people listening, I have a school bus that my family converted into a home, and we raised the roof so it's 7.5 feet on the inside, I think, on the like from floor to ceiling.
Yeah.
It's I wish I could show it to you, but there's not much to say.
Yeah, we'll put some pictures.
Yeah,
some links to
awesome.
the pictures on the podcast.
It's a big feat to do what we did, but anyone can do it. And we were living in it, afraid to jump on the road. But there's another family that's here often called the Mobleys, and they have been traveling for over 10 years, probably 12 now, years. And their family like is thriving. They make tie-dyes and sell soaps, and now they even got like a coffee booth and stuff. And
Is it Cosmic Coffee people?
no, their children do the booth, I guess. They,
wow.
Yeah, because it's their. So it's not their booth; it's their kids' booth.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know,
That's so great.
They're
it's like
teenagers,
family
yeah.
business, and
Yeah.
really, I just love that because, like, rather than the kid thinking, oh man, I've got to go like figure out which crappy 9-to-5 job I'm going to get least, they get to go to music festivals and sell coffee to their friends.
They do, and you know, like my youngest learned pretty quickly that he could sell paintings to people, and they would buy them. And he accidentally dropped some paint on the floor. He was like maybe 6 or 7. Okay, he dropped some paint on the floor, and he was like, and I was like, it's okay. It's like you can. And he stepped on it. It was like you could make the paint with your feet if you want. Like any part of the art is how you do the art, so you can do it however you want. And he like got all serious and focused, and he was like dipping his foot just carefully on the floor paint and like making this art piece. And he steps back and he takes a deep breath and he's like, I call it steps to success. And someone at Pyro gave him $20 for that painting. And the boys really my older one, 2 years older than him, he sells crystals and stuff like that, and they have easily made over $100 each. And if they want to buy something special, then they always know how to do that. And I think that's something that we're really missing in the world, where we know that we can succeed, we're not going to starve or fail, and really how to do that alongside with community, because community shows that. But I feel like healthy community really is like when each individual can learn how to be their own self-sufficient in a certain amount of way, you know.
Totally.
To where you're filling your own cup up, and then you give from your overflow, so no one's ever resenting each other.
Yes.
We're all like teams, but we're all capable individual teams, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, our boys look forward to Pyro all year long because like they love selling stuff. They've done the same thing. Like their first Pyro, they bought something little, it ended up with like $100. They're just like trading up.
So when we got there, going on our way, I'm like, okay, I'll give you guys. It was a surprise trip. Like they didn't know they were coming to Pyro because I decided last minute. Like it was 2021. Everything was canceled the year before, and a lot of things were canceled 2021. I'm like, well, I'm not going to get to take them to normal festivals that I take them to, so I'm just going to bring them with me to Pyro this year. Yeah. And we brought some walkie-talkies, and they were able to keep in touch. And the first one was at Brushy Fork, and where we were at was it was kind of a tighter area. Like the camping was way spread out.
I went there once.
Okay.
Yeah, my first I think was, or second, I can't remember. But I went there once.
Okay. Yeah, the layout of that Pyro was really nice because we were
except for the ground for bare feet. It was pokey.
Oh, what?
They had cut, maybe it was just that year, they had cut it was like wheat or something, and it
Yeah.
like was a little pokey on the bare feet.
I wonder
Yeah.
if that was when they first started, and like
Maybe.
it was a transformed field.
Yeah,
Spring
it was.
Phoenix, where was that one
That
that,
was
I went to?
Southington,
That was
Denver.
great for bare feet. That one, like, that was that same one?
No, that was Spring Phoenix was at Southington Off Road.
Okay, yeah, I liked, yeah, but this one, the walkways have like all the rocks, and so I end
Well,
up wearing shoes for some of it.
And some of it is beautiful sand.
Yes.
Wonderful sand.
Yeah, it just depends on where I'm going.
If you go off the path to the side, there is sand,
Yes.
which is great.
Yeah, that's true.
So I gave each of the boys $20 when we got there, because normally when we go to festival, they figured out that they can sell things to people, so they like
Yeah.
to try and make things, but they didn't have time to do that because they didn't know they were going. So I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, I'll just give you guys $20 each, so you can like get yourself a little something. And like we get here on Thursday because we're here to we help set up the workstation space with Illumination Station, and or the workshops. And it's like Thursday afternoon or Friday, they're like, oh, can we have our $20? We want to like, we found some things we want to get it right now. And I was like, well, don't you guys want to like just look around for a couple days, and then when you see something you really like, then get it? And they're like, no, we want to just get something now. I'm like, all right, whatever, $20. So they went and bought something, or bought a few things, and then they went and sold those things and made more money than they got. And they kept doing that, and that $20 turned into like $100 while they were selling the weekend.
That is not an uncommon story, because
Yeah.
we've literally watched the boys do this so many times, not just our boys, other children. Like, they used to get these rock bags. It was mystery
Yep.
bag.
Yep.
And it'd be a $5 bag, and you got all these rocks, and they go around and sell them, That was
Yeah.
where it started.
Yeah.
But yeah, and actually a really fun thing that you can do that we found out if the kid comes up to you to try, or an adult, I mean, we can share the love.
Yeah.
That inner child appears in front of you with their
Yes.
artwork or trying to move something.
Yeah.
If you don't have money or the need for such a thing, you can bless it and tell them that I don't have that, but what I can do is believe that someone will buy it, and go,
Oh.
right? And what's really cool about this is I have so many witnesses of this, how this works. And literally yesterday this happened. This young man, he had to be like maybe 12 or 11. He was a little like, will you buy this, with the face of like a little attitude, I don't know if anyone's gonna buy this from me face, And I'm just like, it was actually kind of cool thing. It was purple crystal flat. It was pretty. I was like, told him I don't really have the money to buy it right now, but what I can do, and I told him, and I booped it, and he rolled his eyes, and he turned, and I laughed so hard because I had two people with me who know that this works. We had a table. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Actually, there were 3 people there that were paying attention to this, and they giggled because they knew it was about to happen. And all of us watched really, 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 really close, and he walks over, and instantly he finds someone to buy it, and she gave him $10.
And now that kid believes.
Well, I don't know if he does, because your brain tricks you, sometimes into thinking things are coincidence. And so
But you might think that now, but you planted the seed.
it's there.
So it's
but I
like
think
he'll
it was
have more
also, it wasn't
experiences.
just a seed for him. It was everyone who was watching too.
Yeah.
Because we talked about it, and they know how important it is to do that for people.
Uh-huh.
And so it's become this thing. It's like this undercurrent where people are booping the like things trying to be sold so they'll be blessed, Or if you see something that you really love in a booth that you can't afford or you don't really need, you can do that too. Just boop,
Yes. Yeah, I feel like that. Have you seen the artist? We're gonna interview her too. She's on the other side. She does the wood burning art.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
no, not yet.
And then
got
she
these
has these butterflies
The
that
butterfly
are
that you
that. Yeah.
That's funny. I'll have to go see her. This actually appeared at my bus, so
Well, that's
Okay.
from her.
it's
So-
a quest. It's a quest token, you mean?
Yes, it is.
You walk past the stage, just
Challenge
keep on going down
accepted.
the road, and you'll see her off the side, not too far past the stage.
She's the most amazing artist. She draws like with the
wood
wood burns. It's women that are like turning into trees.
Oh my gosh.
And like all just like it's so, you're gonna love it.
I will
And
love that.
She wants to get this. She uses like this like cheap one to do it, the wood burner. I
Yeah.
don't remember what it's called. And she really wants to get this $200 one.
Yeah.
And her artwork is like $90 to $100 something, and I've been just like saying like, I'm gonna convince at least 2 people to buy this so that she can get this thing, so that she can like do it even easier.
Okay,
you know?
well, we'll be sure to make some time and go over there and boop all,
Yes.
all of her things.
Yes.
But really, it's like if you find it works better if you really find one that you feel drawn to, because you can feel the essence in it, you know. And wood is a living thing, and when a living being is working with wood, like it holds much more essence. So that sounds really awesome what she's doing.
Yeah, so many shivers in my spine in this conversation.
So I consider myself more of a maker than an artist, except for when it comes to wood. Like I can't paint great, but I can look at a piece of wood, even firewood. We use firewood for heat, and I really struggle with it because there's so many times I pick up a piece of wood and I'm like, this is a goblet. This is a bowl. And like, so I've got a stash, like I've got this little mini plastic shed outside. It's just full of like firewood that I've saved.
That's so
I'm gonna
funny.
turn into something, and that's
We
my
get
art.
that. We get that because this winter my husband started working with woodworking from wood that was naturally fallen where we're at, and there's so many. There's dark walnut. He got a bunch of dark walnut
Yeah,
stuff.
so, and when you get it fresh from a tree, like most of the time you see walnut, it's just dark brown. But when it's like fresh cut from a tree, you can keep the sapwood, so you have the contrast of the dark brown and the really white, blonde
So gorgeous.
sapwood.
Yeah, he made me an altar shelf with it, and it's just like with the natural live edge. Isn't that what's called live edge? That's so gorgeous.
That is so
Love
awesome.
the color of it.
I love that. Yeah.
Can we talk music tech for a minute? I know
Yeah,
that
sure, go
you're a
ahead.
looper, so
Yeah.
I'm curious about your hardware.
So, honestly, my husband is the genius behind the situation that I am in.
That's him for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do. We have. We actually went the cheapest route. Which is really, when it comes to music equipment, nothing's cheap. But
Yeah,
you just buy more over and over. But but like so we took like a basic MIDI pedal, which has several different buttons for anyone who doesn't,
Yep, I
know.
saw
No,
that yesterday
yeah.
because I was peeking. I always got to go look at what people use.
And basically, there's a program in the computer that you can put. Tell it what to do.
Yeah.
Like you can add an effect. If a MIDI, the button basically you decide what it does.
Yeah.
And so he made it so that it loops.
Okay.
And so we made that the looper. And I've got a start and a stop, and I've got 4 of those. But I actually have 8 channels.
Okay.
So I have 8 channels, and I can infinitely loop on one of those channels forever if I wanted.
Yeah.
But the reason I have the 8 channels is because I can turn the volume up and down. I can leave them going and just like turn it up and down. So that bring something in, take it out. And that really changed everything for me. But most of it is in, I think Mobius is the looping software.
Okay.
And if not, I'll have my husband tell me, and you can like have a link or something to what it is. But it's really great that, like, I did start with a basic looper, like a Boss looper, like just 2.
Yeah.
But if I were to advise anyone who is going to loop to just go ahead and save your money to get at least 3 channels.
Yeah.
So because most songs come with a chorus and a verse and a bridge.
Yeah.
And you got to be real creative with that bridge space if you only have 2 spots.
Yeah, that's what I ran into. My aunt, I sang at an event that she did, and so she paid me, and I was like, I'm gonna set the intention that I'm going to learn how to loop. So I took that money that I made from making music to buy a loop pedal, but it was only like the 2-station one.
And it was a complicated one.
And it was
I'm a tech guy,
complicated.
and that was a pain in the ass.
I'm not a tech person, and this was before him, and so I just instantly gave up because I'm like, this is too hard. I can't loop all the things that I want to loop. But we ended up getting what's it called?
Are you familiar with Dixon's violin?
Yes.
So he's a friend of ours, and we asked him. I sent him a message. I'm like, hey, what do you use for looping station? And he's like, get the Boss RC505 or the RC600 if you want foot.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Sweetwater had an open box 505, so we picked one of those up and started playing with that. And then after we got that, I learned there's on the iPad you can get one called Loopy Pro, and it's only $30 for this. And like this recorders that we're talking on, it's the audio interface that I got to plug in, so we can plug instruments and microphones into the iPad.
Yeah.
And it worked out because we've been talking about doing a podcast, and we're like, we could bring a thing around, or we could like use a phone, but this has a great microphone on it, so we just use this, so it's like multi-purpose. So this and your instruments, and like if you already have an iPad, like it's so quick to get set up, and there's YouTube tutorials on it. It's like really powerful.
I still prefer the Boss because I like the buttons, the physical buttons.
I
and not the
really,
screen.
really was super close to getting one, but when it came down to like upgrading to something or what I thought was upgrading, my husband Druid, which just like what do you like about that? Because he can tell anything to do anything with the programming.
Yeah.
And so
cool.
it's like, you know, and I wanted the ease of having the pitch drop and the like hand thing, and where I could like, you know, and it's just like sounds really, it's got good effects already put into it. And he's like, if we're patient, we can put whatever effects we want.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, true.
And he turned out to be correct. But yeah.
It's easier to do things in software than it is hardware.
Yeah, for him. For him, it's much easier. I'm like a hands-on person.
Same. Well, we'd love to do a longer interview with you in the future, but thank you for taking the time to talk with us about.
Yeah, it was really great to meet you.
Yeah, it's been great meeting you guys too, and having this little chat. Even though like we're talking to other people, hello other people. it's still like it's cool to get to know you guys.
Yeah.
I'm being called, it seems. Do you hear that? I have no idea what he said. Hey Echo, come here. It's because children are wise. Don't ever forget, they teach us a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, they teach us as much as we teach them.
Yes.
That's one of the themes of our podcast.
Really?
Yeah, like just conscious parenting and like learning. I do inner child healing workshops too, and that's what I talk about so much.
So
is
cool.
like raising your own kids is healing that inner child.
It is
in you too.
I think we are echoes of each other, I'd say.
Yes, I think so.
And so often when people sit down and talk to each other, they find out they have more in common than they do differences.
It's actually been really recent that this has happened to be like consistent, because I specifically requested a better friendship with myself from myself, and so I built that. Especially even more so over this last winter, I really did some work on asking myself, am I being a really good friend to myself? And I think because I've unlocked that friendship in myself, now I'm starting to finally see and meet people capable of that friendship that I had to create first.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the exact same story for me.
Same.
Like 2015, 16.
Yeah, well, that's how we manifested each other too.
Yeah.
And we had to be very specific. And it was interesting. Right around the exact same time before we got together, our therapist, it was me. My therapist was asking me to like make a list of what I am looking for in a relationship, and he made a list. And what was a music festival, right?
The music festival's on there. No, that was
There's an intention setting or something.
It was a new moon intention setting workshop.
Yeah. But like most of the things on our list were identical. One of them like dancing in the kitchen, like mine, and mine was like dancing, just having someone to dance with. And, like, yeah, it was just so cute. But that you have to create that friendship with yourself first. I needed that before I could find him, you know?
Yeah, if we'd have found each other 5, 10 years earlier.
We might not have lasted through it,
Yeah. But I'm glad that we all linked up in our manifestation this weekend.
It's a good time to be alive, actually.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah.
They want to get us focused on the doom and gloom. Nope, this is it right here. This is what we're going to focus on.
Community.
Community.
Yes. Speaking of kids, we got to go see if our kid woke up from a nap.
Go.
All right, guys. So what does community look like for you here and outside of Pyro?
Community looks like showing up, being available and present for your friends, for your family, and for yourself.
Hell yeah.
Seeing through that window of illusion that wraps us outside of here. Where you can come together and actually experience each other in the flesh.
Yeah. Yeah, after spending a weekend here, it's culture shock just going back.
It is.
Yes.
It is. It is. It's so crazy.
And I think diversity is a big part of what this community is and what it feels like to be part of something that's just not you in your echo chamber.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Yep.
All different ideas flowing around together, and creativity and expression, and the way people show up as themselves here, you know, like
And build
not
off
their,
each other.
And it
Yeah.
encourages others to be themselves.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
Mo was saying earlier, it's like, oh, you have your mask off. It's okay to take my mask off.
That's
here,
what I was gonna say.
you know?
We all take our masks off when we come in.
Exactly. Yeah, and show each other those masks too. Like, look at the inside, look at the outside.
Yeah.
Like, check it out. Look what I can do with it.
bad.
You know, it's a trick.
And here you just never feel judged. You don't walk
Yeah.
into a store and feel like, oh God, I'm the weird one.
No.
You're just like,
No.
there's no way I'm the
Yeah.
weird one here.
Yeah, if you get closer, you can smell it. Yes, my people.
Totally.
So good.
The lack of judgment is a huge part of community,
Yeah.
I think, is
Yeah.
what that is. Yeah. Just letting
Yeah.
people shine.
Yeah, and I love all the kids here that also get to experience that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they can experience community in a different way. That isn't something that they're told is community. It's something that they can actually experience.
I
Yeah.
literally
They're
got
blind
chills
to
when you
be-
said
yeah.
that, because one of my favorite things about Pyro is coming back the next year and seeing the kids be
Kids
older
grow up.
Oh
and
my
doing
God,
like a
I
little
know.
bit different and hustling and doing their thing, and I was like, oh, they're becoming adults.
Yeah, and
You
as
get
mine
little
get older,
splashes.
they were first little hustlers the first few years, and this year they're like, oh, at last minute they're like, oh, we need to bring things to sell, and they like gather up a few things, and they haven't left their tent. Their things haven't left their tent because their focus as soon as they get here is like
Friends.
gotta find friends.
That's how it is. That's how it is. Your worldly ideas come with you, and as soon as you get here, you're like, oh, that baggage. Like before, it wasn't baggage. It was
I don't
all
need
things,
anything.
right? Yeah. But I love all the things people bring to share too. Whether
Yeah.
it's, if it's extremely beautiful art that you've been working on, or just like simple like food or an orange.
Sharing
You know?
food is such a big part of community, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just giving it away.
And then
Yeah.
also being able to look people in the eyes and not feel strange about that. In the world, I
Yes.
deliver all the time, so I'm constantly interacting with people. And I'll meet them and be like, hey, hello. And you can see it's almost they shy away a little bit. Not here. Not here at all.
No.
You know? And maybe that goes back to the mask. You feel comfortable. You know?
Yeah.
I think it's great to watch people interact with my son.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's like so important to me, that everyone that I like see him interact with, like I already have this sense of security that, he's probably going to terrorize them, then they're going to terrorize him. That's
And
probably,
they'll love it.
Yeah,
Because he's a
and
charmer.
I think that's like such a beautiful thing about community, is that like before even like knowing somebody, just seeing them in your community, knowing that we're all together in it, like we're all safe, like
Yeah.
And I don't have to necessarily remember your name for it to be community.
I've been knowing
As
this
a
guy's
matter
name
of
for
fact-
3 years.
Yep.
I love him.
We
Yeah.
hang out
Yes.
every year, hugs, don't know
The
your
more I
name.
try to remember your name, I keep saying the wrong name.
Yeah. We came across somebody yesterday that was like so excited to see us that we had talked to a lot last year that was coming to our workshops, and like I recognized her, and it like took me a minute. I like had zero details, and the more she was talking, I'm like, okay, and I'm like, yep, Muskegon, Sarah.
Sarah. Yeah.
But finally, you just have to follow the breadcrumb trail.
Yeah.
I think for myself as a community founder, what community means is friends becoming family through acts of service.
Absolutely.
So I think the more we spend time together and pour our love into each other, the closer the community is going to be.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
When I come to Pyro the first time, I felt that feeling here.
Same.
Absolutely.
It was
Same.
very much home to
Yeah.
me. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
same.
you said you founded community, so I'm curious to hear about that.
I have my own eco village
Oh, where at?
Where's that?
in Kentucky, Hartford, Kentucky.
Okay, what's the name of it?
Yonder.
Yonder.
It's just beginning.
Okay.
Actually, just got the second home built, and I'm building
great.
7 homes there. So
All right.
Awesome.
So we will have to add your name to a list, because one of these one year we're gonna us and our family we're gonna travel to different intentional communities just
Yeah.
to like visit and.
I just
check
did
out
that
what
last year.
everybody's
I
doing.
just did
Okay,
that
cool.
last year.
Did you have a favorite?
I've traveled a bunch of hostels, and I have a favorite hostel. I haven't found my favorite community yet. I'd say the farm in Tennessee is probably
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
probably my favorite, but there's a lot more out there to explore.
One of the we're up in Montague, and one of our community members that's at our community, she lived down in Nashville for most of her life,
Yeah,
and before she came to Michigan, and she went to the farm
Yeah.
to deliver her 2 sons.
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've been to a couple of festivals that they have there, and they're just beautiful.
Yeah.
It's energy. It's incredible energy.
If you guys don't know, the farm was founded by a midwife and her husband, and so it's just like a bunch of renegade birth workers that in the 70s, I think, that were tired of birthing in the hospitals, and so they just created a community. I get shivers talking about them every time. They're so inspirational. Ina May Gaskin, I think, is who founded it.
They were the original Haight-Ashbury caravan that came from the West Coast to buy land here. They came in a bus caravan and established the farm.
See, and I see a community that's based on love, that starts in love, can bring that love with them in their hearts, so they can travel with their own community, whether they're there or not, and bring that elsewhere. I think that's a real foundation of a good community.
And before they had the community, when they were traveling around in their buses, she and a couple others were the midwives, and there were like women giving birth in their buses, traveling around the country.
I love it.
Incredible, which is super radical for the 70s.
Powerful.
They're incredible. And then they also had this program for any women who who would get pregnant and they could not support a child. They had a program where you could come and live there for your whole pregnancy and be supported by all the members of the community with herbal care support, just like pregnancy, prenatal support. And then you could give birth there at the community, and then you could choose to leave your baby there to be adopted by the community, and you could leave, or you could stay there continuously with your baby. And actually 90% of these women stayed there in community. So that's who founded
That's amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah, you can find the strength in that.
It's like
doing
it alone.
It's too hard to do alone. It's like you really it takes a village.
It does take a village.
Which brings up another thing of being face to face.
Exactly.
How different interactions are face to face. You can say anything on the internet and do all sorts of crazy things, but once we're mingling shoulder to shoulder, we're gonna find a common ground. Even if you come in from different communities, people just want to find a way to connect. And when you're face to face, it's so much easier to just be like, we're just flesh and bones humans, and we have so much in common, even if we're from different countries. They
want us to focus on our differences and get people fighting so that they don't join up to go against what's actually causing all the harm in the country. When people sit down together, we realize we have way more in common than we do different. And the things that they try and make a big deal that are different aren't actually a big deal.
That's why these events are so important too. Even the grassroots, just smaller events, you're just getting together and showing up for your community.
That's what we're trying to do is we want to open up as a campground similar to this. We do hip camp right now in the woods, but we'd love to host events. We actually got married last year, and it was our first Soulfire Forest Festival. Soulfire Forest is our community, and Dixon's violin played.
Nice.
So,
Dixon's.
in the woods, it was the most magical experience ever.
That's beautiful.
It was the best.
It was the best.
Great time.
Yeah.
We were just all in tie-dye.
Is that where you guys,
fairy
the
wings.
pictures of you guys last fall, all dressed up at that wedding?
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah, that's our wedding.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I saw those photos. Those
Yeah,
are cool.
and we had fairy wings. So one of my favorite moments was that my dad, who's very not part of this vibe, was getting impatient for dinner because after the wedding we were just all dancing to Dixon's violin, and he was like, well, there's just a bunch of fairies dancing in the woods, so we decided to go to dinner. And I'm like, yes, that's my vibe. All right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, thank you for recognizing.
Appreciate that's exactly it. Yes, thanks, Dad.
Oh, man.
I feel seen.
I have found coming to Pyro is that in searching for community, it's here and it's there and it's happening now, and nobody else is gonna do it. We gotta build it ourselves together. And that's been that's really showed me what community is about coming to Pyro.
Yeah, it was a Pyro a couple of years ago. There was a group of people that were this needs to be our full-time life, and they had a Facebook group, and they were trying to find property together in Michigan or Ohio so that they could start an intentional community.
It's so cool.
We can
so
do
inspiring.
You can.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
We are doing it right now. This is practice for doing it all the time.
Yeah.
We always say every time we come to Pyro, we're this is going to be our life every day.
Yeah.
Like that is my goal, is that like every day feels like this. I'm surrounded by people that I love. There's music, there's dancing, there's joy.
Yes. Yeah.
My kids are safe. They have kids to play with. They have adults that can inspire them. Like that's my dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got talking to Bim, the guy that owns this property earlier, and man, he's a cool human, and the way he's wanting to start community.
Yeah.
The way we actually started community.
We actually know Bim, go way back. We were gonna have our wedding here, and then the pandemic hit and whatnot. So
yeah, we did a backyard instead, but it's fine.
No, the Willow Ranch is really, really amazing, and the backstory. If you ask Bim, he inherited it from his family, and they used it as a trash dump, and so they had to clean up so much. And not this one. We're on the back trail right now, so the middle trail, they call it Tire Road, and they literally have buried tires in the road.
Yeah, you could feel it kind of bounce over there. There's rubber tires all under the dirt.
Tire Road.
Wow.
So they've really transformed this property. And when I started coming out here, there was no pond here, there was no center trail.
These tiny houses weren't built.
None of the tiny houses were here.
We hung out here when we were dating, so it's been quite a while.
Yeah, I started coming out here in 2014.
And it's genius the way he's figured out how to do it, because so many townships are against building tiny homes and community. And we were talking to him because we're trying to figure this out for ourselves, and we were just like, oh my God, that's genius! Everyone just needs to do this. It's a campground, he's just got a you can, in this township you can have four campsites before you get a permit. So he did that for a while, 4 campsites, and then once he got the permit, then he just the rules were he had to have for every 50 sites he had to have two water spigots. And then once you get that, you can be a primitive campground, which means that you can build cabins. So then he has people sign a contract saying, oh, we're only going to stay here for 30 days. And so then he's got the paperwork of, oh, these are campers that are staying for longer. Right. Yeah. And that just invites the community humans that just want to move around and be nomadic. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you taking this down?
Yeah, right.
You're coming farther north, so I can feel it.
Oh, he is.
Community, dude.
Yeah. Our life.
Community.
Thank you guys for all sharing.
Thank you so much for asking
thanks for stopping us.
This is
That's
awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I love you guys.
We love to have these conversations. So you're starting an intentional community in, you said northeastern
Arizona. Yeah, St. John's is the closest city that's nearby, but it's pretty far out in the boonies. It doesn't look very far away on the map, but St. John's is a half an hour away from all of the dirt roads that we have to take to get to the land. So you do a half an hour of driving through dirt roads, and then you're on real roads and you can drive to the town. It's kind of cool. It's out in the middle of the boonies. But there's a bunch of parcels that also are connected and owned by different people, and they're all 40 acres. And so we have a 40-acre one. There's a 40-acre one abandoned next to us. Yes.
Oh, wow.
That we're going to try and get as well, because apparently you just have to pay the back taxes on it or something.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, and then you just take over ownership, and it's directly connected to the parcel that we have.
That would be convenient.
So then we'd have 80, and that'd be really cool. But 40 is great. There's already a huge industrial greenhouse on the property and a camper. So the camper is going to be our community hangout space, I guess, our the center of our community, because then the greenhouse is right by that. We want to grow all kinds of vegetables, tobacco, marijuana, fruit trees. Apparently that area is really, really good for growing fruit trees. And then, so all the neighbors, everybody has a thing that they do, which is really, that's already this is already there. We just found an in into this community.
Wow.
But they all kind of exist separately right now, but we've been talking to them and kind of bringing everybody together. And one person has goats and does goat milk and has too much goat milk and is giving it away, and another person has chickens and they do the eggs and everything. Another person does the well drilling, so they're going to drill the well on the property for us. Someone else has a metal forge and an excavator, and he's use it whenever, we can trade for stuff, and so there's already that kind of foundation there. But then we met a group of, I want to say there's about 10 people that all have the like-minded self-sustainability, kind of living outside of the normal societal structure that is here now, and wanting to build a community. And so they connected in the desert, spent an entire month just getting to know each other and honestly healing with each other and growing with each other. It was a beautiful month, and now they are doing the physical work. Now we're going to start building up the community. So.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. I'm like
so
tearing
excited
up.
too.
That's so exciting.
Wonderful.
You're still gonna come back here to Pyro, though, right?
I'm hoping so.
How long of a drive is it?
Like
or did you come?
30. I haven't been out there yet, actually.
Oh, okay. And where do you live now?
I live in Wayne right now.
Right.
Little Podunk, Wayne, Ohio. Yeah. There's like 800 people in the town. It's a cute little town. But because we actually wanted to start our community there, we found a 20-acre property with a trailer on it. And we really wanted to, and we were trying to take the steps, and it's like nothing was working and no avenues were opening up for us.
Wasn't it?
And then it just kind of clicked that like it's not, this isn't where it's supposed to be. Yeah, and then since we found the land in Arizona, everything has just flown. Yeah.
When it's meant to be, it goes a lot easier.
It's very true. That is very true.
Like sometimes you've got to like push a little bit, but if you've got to like just be constantly pushing and not getting anywhere, you got to let go sometimes.
Exactly.
Oh, have you ever read The Alchemist?
No.
It's really good, but it's about like it's fictional about this guy trying to go on his personal legend, and he talks about like at the beginning.
Okay, you can go say hi to your friend. You did tell me. Thank you so much.
So along his journey, he first like notices like all these signs, like, okay, yes, I'm on the right track, and then come the tests, where it's like, do you really want it though?
Yes.
We're gonna make you work for it.
Yes.
You're gonna have some hard work right here, and then if you get through that, it's all yours.
Easy. Yes, that is, oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's how it's been going right now for me.
Yep.
So through this whole transitional period that I've been in, I decided one of the things that me and the kids are doing, we're selling everything, obviously because we're moving out to Arizona, so we're selling everything. But the kids and I bought a bus. Well, I bought a bus. I guess they didn't help much. And we are going to kind of just take some us time, some me time, and we're going to travel. We're going to make like a big loop around the country before we land in Arizona.
Oh, amazing. Well, if you loop upwards, you can stay at Soulfire Forest for sure.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Yes. I know, I've been making these little connections of people who are like, bring the bus, come stay for a little. I'm like, sweet, like my route's already planned. And that's one of the things that's been flowing is like, I have no idea where I'm going to go, but it's like my route has just been like, hey, stop here, hey, stop here.
It'll open up as you're going.
Yeah.
Yep.
What?
It'll open up as you're going.
Yes, I know, and that's the other thing. Yeah, you just follow the flow, and the flow just takes you. And
have you seen Amber Echo's bus?
No.
Oh my gosh. You know Amber Echo that played? She's playing today.
Yeah.
Did we miss her?
I know of her,
sure.
honestly.
Yeah, she's really incredible.
Yeah.
And she gave us a tour of her bus. She took, or it was not a bus, it's a, it's a bus. And she took the ceiling and raised it up.
Is that roof raised bus hers? That's kind of up front?
Yeah. Oh my
Ish.
God.
Yes.
Go inside. It's so beautiful.
I saw the outside and I was like,
it's gorgeous
inside.
inside.
Can you imagine what it's like going into like like a hobbit home? Like it's into the side of the hill. Going in their bus is like that.
That's That's what I wanted to. Yes.
It's magical.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, you should go check it out.
Yeah, when we post this episode, we're gonna post a couple pictures that we got.
Awesome. Yeah. Yay. Oh wow.
Well, I'm glad we.
Yeah, that was cool. That flowed nicely. See, when it's supposed to flow, it flows.
Yeah. When you talk about the things you're passionate about, it comes out so easily.
It does. Yeah, it does. And I've been doing that because that's what Thomas is always the talker in our relationship. You know what I mean? And so I've never really like flexed that muscle. I know all of these things, and talking about spiritual stuff too. Like I know all of these things, and I believe them, and I live them. But like articulating it is where it's been hard.
Yeah.
And I've been able to. I've connected with a few people this weekend and shared some spiritual things, shared the things about the community.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I was talking, and it flowed, and it was beautiful, and it felt good.
We'll definitely connect with Amber too, because she's starting this network of communities around the country, and they're they're traveling around to like different places, and I'm so bummed. She told us about this the first night we talked to her, and then we forgot to ask her about it when we did an episode with her. But so we're going to have to do a full episode with her in the future. But she's talking about this network called Echo Locations, where there's we maker space and gardens and.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
There's so many community humans here.
I know.
That's we're just talking to a group back there, and there's somebody who founded a community down in Kentucky, and then we come down here and there's you and us and
then you guys too.
Yep.
I love it.
We're all community
and
humans.
It's crazy because I've honestly had these thoughts literally my whole life. I remember being a child and thinking about why don't we just trade chicken for pork, or you know what I mean? Like I had the idea of like what, without even being taught what it was beforehand. Just like, why don't we do this? Like, what is money? Why do we do it this way? And
it's
like
stupid.
wanting to be in community and like not school, like earth school and nature school. And like, I mean, most kids don't like school, but there's a reason for that because it's messed up. I know you guys know, but anyway, like I've always had these thoughts of like, this is how we should be living.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I grew up and, this is how it is, you know, and so then you just fall into that, and now like trying to come back out of it is honestly kind of hard. Yes, ma'am, I can.
Yeah, it is hard.
And by the way, this property here is an intentional community as well.
That's what I thought, because there's people that actually live here.
And the way that he does it is really cool. We were just talking to him. It's a campground, so it's listed as a campground. He started out with saying he only had 4 sites because in this county you can have 4 sites without a permit. And then once he had enough money, he got the permit and was able to, you have to get like a certain amount of water per every 50 sites or whatever. And then he got the permit, and then he can label himself as primitive camping, and when you're a primitive campground, you can build cabins. So then he's got all these cabins. And tiny houses. But they're campground. So they're not homes. They don't have to be parceled and all that kind of stuff.
Really cool.
And he just has people sign a contract at the beginning saying that they're only staying for 30 days because that's how long you're allowed to camp here in the county.
Yeah, that is genius. We're trying to. We are trying to get the land and all the people in the community to be sovereign, like fully sovereign land, sovereign citizens, citizens of the land, following the law of the land. Like that is, and it's doable. And actually, one of the people that we met in that group of 10 is a lawyer, an ex-lawyer. And knows how to do it because it is a very, very complicated process to get your sovereignty from the government because they don't want you to. So they make you go through all these loopholes and this red tape and this process. So he knows how to do it, and it's still going to be probably a long process per person. But that is something, that's one of our big goals is we want to get everybody literally to step outside of this system, and we're going to exist just as beings of the land the way that we are meant to, the way that we're supposed to.
Yeah, my youngest, I didn't get a birth certificate for her because I wanted her to be sovereign. But then, like, we were going through a financial rough spot, so we got food stamps. So they're like, oh, well, you have to have a birth certificate.
Really? What state do you guys live in? This one. Really? Interesting. Yeah. Because I in Ohio, he doesn't have a birth certificate, and I've got food stamps for him. And it was funny that when I went to go re-up my food stamps, I forgot that I had signed him up. And so I said something about it's just me and my daughter living here. And she's like, oh, what about Maximus? I was like, oh, yeah, him too. Because I completely forgot.
And you get money for him too? They've been hounding me about it, but you know how it is with a home birth with no midwife present. So I'm like, I have to go through all these hoops to get the birth certificate, and I'm explaining all the hoops as I'm just very slowly walking through the hoops. And she still doesn't have one, and I'm like, maybe I just like not get one. They've threatened to take the money off.
They did.
They did take it off?
Yeah, it's been gone for like a year now.
Oh, yeah, right. So now, like, so the way, like, it's so stupid. You have to have all this, like, proof of where she was born. And I have none of it because she hasn't been to the doctor. She hasn't done all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I just don't want to put her in this system.
Because I looked into it because I wanted to get them passports. Just in case anything goes wrong.
And you can get a passport.
You can without a birth certificate?
Yes. So do you know the indie birth community at all?
Not really.
They talk about it on that, the indie birth, the woman who started indie birth, Marin, her husband, he has a business called the Sovereign. I'll send it to you.
Yes, please.
Yeah, and they have 11 kids. None of them they've all, like, half of them were born with birth certificates, half of them weren't.
Yeah.
They've all gotten rid of all of their stuff.
Wow.
They are all sovereign citizens.
That's amazing.
And they all have passports.
Wow.
And they don't vaccinate.
Yeah.
And they travel the world.
Yeah.
You just have to know how to do it. Like that lawyer.
Yeah, I bet he might. Yeah, there we go. I'm so thankful that they found him, that he was a part of that, because, like, it's always been one of our goals. It wasn't like we met this lawyer and he's like, I know how to do this. And we're like, yeah, let's do that. Like, that's kind of been a plan from the beginning, is being sovereign citizens, fully stepping out of this society.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Just do it.
Well, we're here talking about, so we've been asking people what community means to them. And I know you're a big part of the Pyro community because you've got a food truck, you're in the band, you're all over the place.
And you told me your daughter's in the band as well?
Yeah. Yep. And so this whole community I got introduced to, we started our band Pillars of Rome, and we used to play Coyote Grove. I don't know if you're familiar. It's in Ohio. And somebody there heard us play and was like, you guys need to play Pyro. You need to play Pyro. I'm going to tell Joe. And they told Joe, and Joe was throwing another show that wasn't a Pyro. It was called Full Moon Rise. And it was Natalie Rise, Eli and the Enigma, us, Land of Panda, and a couple other people. But so that was my first Joe show. And what had happened is he booked us on the show, and somebody was supposed to do sound, but it was this community. It's crazy. It's they never solidified it, and Joe found out I did sound, and I knew the sound people that he hired, that he thought he hired, and they thought they were. It's all a mess. But I was like, I do sound, man. Like, hey. And he's like, all right, great, man. How much? And I was like, I'll tell you what, man. I'll do it for $500 if you put my band on Pyro. And he's like, yeah, man, the more the merrier. Let's do it. All right. And I'm like, yes. So we that, and then after he heard me do sound at Full Moon Rise, he's like, hey, man, look, we got 2 stages, and do you want to do it? Like you want to do the mountain stage, man? I was like, and I'd never done sound for a festival like Pyro before. I had worked at the Kent stage in Kent, Ohio. Okay. So I've done bigger acts, but I never did a big festival. I've played them, but never so I was like, all right, let's do it. And that first fall Pyro, the community here,
I know. Yeah. I know. As we're talking to people, we're all just tearing up.
Cause that, man, there were so many hurdles. So the scheduling, the freaking, just, I don't know, man. It was just Pyro.
Yeah.
And
totally.
Festival time.
And seeing how everybody just like, Willie, what do you need? All right, let's do that. Hey, what if we put this person here and do that? And I'm like, okay, and like, I caught on immediately what it was about, because I followed the Dead. I did further tours and stuff. Like I'm an old Deadhead, so been there. And on the lot, man, when you're on Dead lot, like back in the day, like you could just yell out into the crowd like, I need this, and somebody's like, I got you, and like boom, boom, boom. Beautiful. That's how it used to be. That's how I grew up with it. Like literally, you could walk out there and go, anybody got trash bags? And somebody be like, yeah, over here. I mean, I've been on lot where I've yelled out, I need a car jack, or no lie. Yeah. And just random stuff, and like that's what that community was all about. Oh. Yeah. And I look at the festival community, like Pyro, especially Pyro, it appears to, it seems to me like the Dead community, which spawned from the 60s and everything, just kind of this is the evolution of that community.
Yes,
it really is. Like it's not about the Dead, it's not about that, but I see it everywhere I go in this festival, how the foundation that was laid on lot is here, like and it's without the tanks. And I'm not against whippets, but it is so nice not hearing that all night long. Yeah. And that's and the community here, like it's everybody pulls together. Like the spring Pyro that had all the controversy and like with all that mud, like that mud fest. I mean, just seeing the way everybody pulled together. Right, and they all pulled together, and I mean pushing those cars nonstop, just nonstop. Like everybody, like somebody gets stuck in the mud, 5 people are like, and they're out there with the tractor 24/7, man, like towing. Just if somebody was stuck, that tractor was going there, and they were towing it, or everybody was pushing, and like, that with all the controversy that was going on with that, you could see the community truly like, let's make this work.
Yeah.
Let's make it work and make it work right. Yeah. And like, not let this bring it completely down. Yeah, and that was important, and it really like, it was cool. It was really nice to see and know that this exists. You know, that's another thing with this community is I always tell people, like, you know, you look back over the history of humans and stuff, and it's like, it's really cool. It's nice to see that this does exist within our society, within our everyday life, that you can, you know, we're travelers, and sometimes it's unfortunate when things like health departments get involved and things, but I know they do it for a reason, but it's a lot of money too. You know, like I paid, you know, I had to pay the health department $250 to vend this. Just to get an inspection and vend it. And you know, and if you're from out of state, you don't have a license here or whatever, like all the food vendors had to pay, and they did inspections, and you know, and then they walked the campground, and it's a good thing too, because a lot of people get food. Like I heard a story yesterday or day before, somebody told me that they got bad food poisoning from a vegetarian vendor, no less, one time because they were set up next to a porta potty.
Oh man.
You know, like that's the kind of thing that.
But I wonder.
You know, you think like stuff isn't needed, but there's certain standards that need to be.
But could it be so? Like, there's the garden community. Yeah, and I don't know if you know anything about them, but they're very, very particular about how they prepare their food.
Oh yeah.
So, like, what if instead of this outside authority source was doing it, we could do it from the community? Of like, you just have rules.
With our community,
yeah.
But you got to look at it in a bigger, wider, the world stage, right? Like, it's not just us.
Right,
so,
right.
And they ain't gonna go by the rules, you know. Like they're gonna, and us too. Like in our community, man, there's, you know, like. It's like, well, that's all right, you know. I mean, it happens, you know. There's people that aren't at that level where they want to take care of things correctly. They want to just get it done and cut corners, or you know, or they don't see anything wrong with what they're doing, just because they're not educated, you know. And education's important. Right. So when you deal with health departments and stuff like that, like, we're a society, and it's a big society with a lot of different avenues and beliefs, and sometimes you gotta have somebody that's, you know, like in our community, we have people that set standards. We do, and enforce things. You know, like, you know the stories. You know, somebody spun out and take them in the woods and let them calm down, and like, you know, but there's people in charge of that, like, and so, and this is, can we pause? This is like one of my favorite songs of all time. Where were we? Oh yeah, I love that song.
What was the song?
All right, so Man on the Moon. The guy's name is Joe Powers.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's from Marion, Ohio. And I don't know what it is about that song. Like, it's not even the story behind it. It's just something about that song, and his voice has made me wet. Just I had tears over there. Like,
I love how
so
music does that.
That particular song at the right time. There's been a couple of times it's just pleasing to hear, but sometimes it's like, and maybe it was telling you the stories. But yeah, Joe Powers and that Man on the Moon, or Me and the Man on the Moon. But it's about it's about addiction, and I've never went through that personally, but family members, stuff like that, and for obvious, you know, friends and stuff. But you know, that song is about him losing his kid and then fighting to get clean and to get his kid back, and it's all about being with the man on the moon, you know. And he's been clean for several years now, and you know, and he got his son back and everything. But yeah, that's it. So knowing what's behind those songs, like, sometimes that, but it's not even that story that gets it. It's just, so when I heard it, I was like, I gotta go, because I've been wanting to catch that all day.
We completely understand. Like, it's amazing how music can do that. And there's songs I've had where I've heard in the background, and I would add them. I would like, oh, I like that sound. I'd add to my playlist. I wouldn't really pay attention. And one day, all of a sudden, I noticed the lyrics. I'm like, wait a second. And then, it really, it completely changes that song.
Right at the right moment. Absolutely. When you really need that medicine.
That Wikifoot did that for me. I was married for 19 years, and we split ways, and I I probably would have got depressed. I mean, we're still like great friends and all that. Like it wasn't a bad breakup or anything like that. We just grew apart, and it was like, you know, hey, like I think it's you know, kind of over. So, but I think I would have gotten a lot more depressed, and probably went through that whole motion. You know, that natural motion you go through. But I just started listening to Wookiefoot. Like,
yes.
And those last 3 albums that they've done, like really, and Mike Love. So it was a combo of those 2 artists that I had just because of Pyro. Like I've always listened to reggae and stuff like that, but I never stumbled onto Mike Love. And for whatever reason, I have no idea why I never stumbled on the Wookiefoot.
They've been around for like last year.
Yeah, they've been around 25 years. Like,
yeah, I heard them for the first time last year, and I was like, what? Like, they have this one lyric that's my favorite of all of theirs. Some people are so damn poor, all they have is their money.
Yeah.
I love that.
I do too. Absolutely.
Yeah, we know some people like that.
You know, I've done all these Pyros, and the last summer Pyro, I finally met Mark. And, you know, it was just like, because I'm always doing the other stages. You know, I'm always doing the stage that they're not on. And I was finally like the stage that they were on, so I was like, I get to meet Mark finally. Like,
yeah, we were hoping to talk to him last night, but we had this guy, we had to get to sleep, and we were just wiped out.
I get it.
Yeah, I was so bummed we didn't get to see him this year, but his bed clock is 10 o'clock, and we're like, he's done at 10 o'clock, we can't go out. Parent life, you know.
So yeah, parent life, I was the stay-at-home dad. I was a stay-at-home parent for 12 years or so. My ex-wife's an attorney, so it kind of led to, you know, it was like that. And I don't know, man, being, you know, I always wanted to be in the music business. I always wanted to be, you know, do that life, and I just never did. I was always a cook. And but I always played, and I really dabbled in recording. Like, I started with a little cassette tape and 4-track, and then digital, and then computer. And when I became a stay-at-home parent at 33 is when 33 I think is when we had Adara. I'll be 53 in September. And I just studied. You know, during nap times, I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm learning. Learning more and more and more about equalization and all this. And I had a basement studio, and I joined bands when I first moved to Ohio. And like I didn't get on stage until I was 35.
Wow.
Yeah, and I played hundreds and hundreds of shows now. But it's like I was 35 before I stepped foot on a stage and actually played my first show.
Oh wow.
And I sat in with a band or two over the years, you know, in bars and stuff. No big deal, but like an actual show. And
you guys are amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I was 46 when I did my first open mic with her. 45 or 46.
Yeah. And then so I got into the music thing. And you know, my daughter was always down in the basement, like, and I tried to get her. I got her interested in music early on, like maybe 3 or so. Like, you know, I got her a little drum kit, and then as she got older, I never pushed it.
Yeah, that's the key.
She might say differently. But I did not push music on her. I would ask her, like, hey, do you want to learn how to do this? Do you want to learn how to do that? And like, and I you know, would try to show her stuff, and she just didn't want it, you know, and I didn't push it. And then when she was in 5th grade, the music program, you know, they're like, if you want to be in the band, you know, music. So she was wondering what to choose, and she was leaning towards trombone. I was like, don't do trombone. I was like, if you're gonna do a horn or something, do saxophone, because if you decide that it's something you want to do after college, you know, it seems like, well, now it's different, but at the time I thought that there would be more opportunities for saxophone players as opposed to trumpet or trombone, and I'm wrong. I mean, I see so many bands now that aren't, well, I don't know, I came from Florida. I was so used to ska.
Where in Florida?
St. Pete.
Okay, I grew up in
St. Pete, Tampa.
Havana, right outside of Tallahassee.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Florida.
Yeah.
One of our favorite bands is The Movement, and they got
the
trumpet in there.
Yeah.
And he's playing the trumpet and the keyboard at the same time. I'm like, what the hell?
I swear I've worked with them before somewhere. The Movement, like, I don't know.
Were you at Everwild Music Fest?
No, I've never done Everwild.
We've never been either, but they were there last year.
Yeah, they were at Shangri-La too, because Wookiefoot went to Everwild, and I'm guessing they connected with The Movement there, because after Everwild, The Movement was on the Shangri-La lineup for last year too.
One of these days I'll make it to Shangri-La.
Same. We'd love to go.
My daughter's been wanting to go forever.
Yeah.
For the last couple years. But yeah, parenting with the daughter, so music was always in my life because my dad was a drummer, but he never taught me. Like, it was kind of opposite. If I tried to sit down at the drum kit, he'd be like, "Get off them drums, don't touch those." And then I took drums in high school, but we moved so freaking much that I went to 24 schools and I changed schools 46 times.
Wow.
So
military?
No.
Oh, wow.
No, it was back in the day when your bills didn't follow you.
Oh, yeah.
Now your bills follow, which is society. Like, that's a huge impact in society, I think. Like, it used to be, if you couldn't make it work in a town or a city, you could pack up and go somewhere else and start over. You can't start over anymore.
No, you get followed.
You really cannot start over anymore as far as utilities and stuff go. Like, you cannot start over. Yeah. It is all linked up. And that's kind of a weird position that everyone has been put in, that they don't. I realized it. I don't know how many people realize that. Like, it really used to be that way, where people would start over in a new town. That's why there's songs about that, starting over in a new town. And that you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a weird concept, But anyway, that's how I grew up. And then when they decided to move somewhere else, they'd have some money saved up and they pay off bills and mom, like, okay, we're in Tampa, bills are in mom's name. Okay, let's go back to Ohio, Columbus, or something. All right, bills in mom's name there, but let's go back to Tampa, bills in dad's name. Go back to Columbus, bills in dad's name. The bills are in dad's name. All right, we got enough money. Let's go back to Florida and pay off those bills and put it in your name again. And like, that's kind of how it worked.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything like that now.
No.
Electric companies are electric companies. Gas companies are gas companies. Like, you got to pay that bill, and you can't start over. It's weird. But that's how. But anyway, with my daughter, one school system, one town, the whole get-go. And being a parent, like, it's so weird. Like, I never pushed music on her, but she started with the saxophone. And she just worked at it. And like, her freshman year, she was section leader in marching band and first chair in concert band.
Oh, cool.
And I had friends, when COVID hit, I had a friend that taught at a college, and he approached me and was like, "I know your daughter's really into sax. I'll put her in my roster and, like, teach her."
Yeah.
So she was learning from a college professor, and I think that's when it really hit her, like, to do it seriously. And then the first Pyro I took her to, which was at Southington, she saw Big Blitz.
Oh, yeah.
And she just sat in with them the other night. And
wow.
And she cried. She's like, they asked her to sit in because we become friends and stuff, and they know her, and they know they're saxophone nerds,
Yeah.
And they've talked about it, but it finally happened. She got to sit in with her favorite band, like,
oh my
and
gosh. How
she just like, so the whole how we ended up doing, like, being a parent. It's really fun I have a lot of fun working with her. We fight a lot, and we don't mean to. It just happens. Like, but it's so much fun. Like, I never pushed music on her, and our saxophone player in Pillars of Rome was going to Japan for vacation, and we had spring Pyro booked, and we were like, I was like, Turtle can do it. Like, Turtle can handle this. And so she learned the songs, and she played her first show ever, which was Pyro. But it was a smaller Pyro. It was the Pavilion. It was a spring one.
Was it the last one at the Southington?
No, it wasn't the last one there.
Or the last spring one there.
Yeah, Mike Love was headliner.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was her first pyro.
That was my first.
Yeah. It was a good little pyro. It was a nice pyro.
Nice.
It was a great environment. Like, it was good.
Yeah.
And then the summer one, right? We decided, Turtle, if you want to be in a band, you're in the band.
Oh, cool.
So she transcribed all the horn parts and got our lead horn player, like, kind of roped him in and was like, these are the parts. Here's the alto and tenor that you wrote, but I got it. And she, like, wrote out all the sheet music for all the songs. And her junior year of high school, man, she's on, what was there, like 8,000 people there that year? 5, I don't know. 5. No, the summer pyro, where Dirt Wire, Moon Tricks, or maybe 6,000. I mean, there was a lot. There was thousands of people. And, as a dad, to put her on stage, because we went right in between Dirt Wire and Moon Tricks.
Oh, wow.
Right, 10 o'clock on a Friday night. And it was just, a sea of people. And as a parent, to be able to give that opportunity and experience to your kid, to have them on stage, at that age, and experience that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's a story she'll remember.
I just felt like I'm like, oh, I'm so happy I got to give that to her, and she just got roped.
Yeah.
And so she was so when she went to college, she wanted to be a music teacher, and her first semester, she's like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to teach, And so she her major was saxophone performance and music theory and stuff. And then all of a sudden she calls me one day and she goes, so I decided to pick up a second major. I was like, all right. And she goes, I really want to do music production.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, now mind you, I've tried to get her into this.
Yeah.
And not as a career, but I realized when she was younger, I was like, let me teach you this stuff now. So that way when you go to college, you can get jobs in bars and clubs and whatever, making money, so you don't have to work a crap job.
Right, do what you love.
And even if she didn't love it, like, it's better than working slaving away somewhere. Like, it's a fun job. And she did not want any part of it. And then, so she calls me and tells me that, and I'm like, my first thing I said was, don't do what I do. I was like, don't do this. Like, I was like, you're not, because I want her to be successful. I want her to have, I don't want her to ever struggle.
Yeah.
And, going into this business, but then I quickly realized, well, you're going to college and you're going to have that paper. I'm self-taught. And like, I could do a lot better in this business if I charged enough. Or if I took more gigs again. COVID kind of. But as a parent, like, to have her follow my footsteps without me pushing it, and she's already doing better. She's only 20 and she just led the production team for Pyro. You know what I mean? Like, that's I don't know if you knew that. I gave Pyro.
No.
Okay, so my daughter's Turtle, the girl that's at the board.
Okay.
I gave it to her this year. I'm like,
oh, I thought you were doing sound again.
No,
wow.
No, that's all my stuff.
Yeah.
Like, my company,
amazing.
but I'm like, Turtle, it's yours. You're in charge. You handle the staff. You handle the decisions. You handle the sound.
She's doing a great job. The sound sounds great.
So we have I have an A1 sound guy with her.
Uh-huh.
And the staff is just amazing. It's a 3-person staff. Well, technically 4. We got a helper, like kind of a volunteer helper. So it's a 4-man staff, but 3 of them are like, and then the one is learning. So it's amazing, like she's nailing it. She nailed it all weekend. So, at 20, because I figured Turtle, if you can handle Pyro, you can handle any festival.
Yeah.
Now, granted, this was like really on point Pyro. There was no hurdles. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with some of the hurdles the sound companies or us sound people go through. With none of that has been the last several ones. Like, it's been amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I kind of missed the chaos. I'm like, Joe, if you're listening, man, throw a monkey wrench in the freaking wheels. Keep us on our toes. We didn't have to make any decisions this year. Like, there's years where it's like too many bands on a stage. It's like, when are we playing? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I was like, when you're playing? When it's your turn, man. You're on pyro time now. Yes. So they're like, all right.
Yeah, we were.
And that's the community. That's the community. And what I was going to talk about earlier is the community. That's that first pyro I had. The schedule was a mess, and I watched these artists without egos pulling together to figure it out themselves, and to help.
That's awesome.
Where I've been in other situations with bands where it's like, well, it's in our contract and blah, 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 and we can't do that. And blah, 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 I'm not lifting that. And, but these artists, at least on my stage and all that, they pull together as a community, as friends, not rivals, and make it happen. And that's one thing about the pyro community that I love, is that sometimes some of these pyros, it's more about, it's not the staff's responsibility to make it amazing. It's ours together to make this amazing. It's not about the promoter, it's not about Joe making sure that he gets these big fixtures and these big fixtures and this really cool area. Like, sometimes, he arranges a lot of things, man, a lot of work. And, but a lot of it is just the community itself wanting to be here and showing their space and showing and putting in all the work, the campsites. Some of those campsites, the work that goes into them, it's like, wow, like, you must have been here. You guys must have worked hours and hours and hours on this site, like, just to make it, just so when you're walking through, you see this great campsite. And it's those little things all piled together that just makes this community that much more special and different than other festivals.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of good festivals, but I don't get out to a lot of festivals because I'm busy with other things. But this one, the only one I was at in the 90s that compared to was maybe one at Swanee.
Oh, I love Swanee.
Oh my
God. I didn't go to the Swanee Music Festival, but I went to the Purple Hatters Ball.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's my favorite festival of all time, in the woods there. That's the one I've told you about, but I have to take you to.
I went to 2 festivals there, and the one I can remember was I saw Olden in the Gray, which is Olden in the Way without Jerry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the bluegrass band he had. And that's Bella Fleck and the Flecktones.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the first and only time I've ever seen Victor Wooten.
Oh, wow.
But that, I don't know. What are getting questions? Lead us somewhere. Like, what is it that you really want to know about parenting in this community?
I think you covered it.
The
community vibe of Pyro. It's such a beautiful space, and how can we bring that? When we come here, we always talk about how can we make this our everyday life? So that's why we are creating intentional community.
Yeah.
So that we have that every day.
So I don't think we.
I don't think I'm sorry.
I don't think we started off. We didn't start off with your name, your band, and your business.
Oh, my name is Willie Tharp. I have Refried Audio, and my band's name is Pillars of Rome, and my vending booth is a vegetarian, vegan quesadilla, rice bowl, and potato bowl place called Turtle Shells.
It's amazing.
Yeah, the turtle shell is the that was great.
I appreciate it.
Watching you cook kind of the same way I do, where you're the different vegetables that they have different cooking times. You put them on separately so that there's all the right consistency. It's so tasty.
You gotta do potatoes first and carrots. Everything has its place.
Totally.
And it's a formula.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, just like community.
Yeah.
It's like every little person has their part in community.
The only thing, when it comes to like doing this steadily and everything, I don't know if we're meant to. Sort of. Like I'll be 53 this year, and I've been a vegetarian since I was 17. When I first became a vegetarian, there was no alternative products. There was no, you could barely find tofu in a grocery store. Like, almost, like it was hard. Now look.
Yeah, there's so many options.
And that's by living by example. I know that I've been told that I've affected people's lives before, just by being me, and I've thought hard on that, and I really do think that just by being you in society and not letting them pound you down and just staying that positive person is how it happens. Because I don't know, like I'm just thinking about now, like you look at communities that have gotten together, and sometimes some bad stuff happens to them. Sometimes things, and whenever we come together as a group like that, people like don't like it.
You're gonna make sure your values are in alignment. Like have a clear set of guidelines, so everybody's kind of operating under the same set of expectations.
But no, I mean like health departments and police and that kind of aspect come down on it. Like they give problems.
If that community over there, they actually cult. Stay away from them. They're not cult. They don't
right. That's what I'm saying. Right. That's what I'm saying. So like, so that's why I got on that thought process of it's by leading by example, as opposed to coming together in a community. It's affecting the neighbors next to you. Like, know your. I know it sounds cliche, but know your neighbors, man. Know their names.
Right.
Know who lives 5 doors down from you. People don't. People don't know. Some people don't know the person on the other side of their neighbor. That's nuts. That's nuts. Like, and I'm guilty of that a lot. Like, for a lot of years I wasn't guilty of that. And I'm in a new place right now, and I'm getting to know the neighbors slowly. Some of them I already know because I lived further down the street one time. And I know a lot of people in my community, and that's important. It really is. Like, know the people in your community. Like, I think that's a really important thing. Like
there's all different ways to do it.
There is.
And like there are communities that, like, I think an important part is blending with the rest of the outer community. Like, not just becoming like, all like that's where the only place you are, but there are lots of communities that have lasted 20, 30 years, and they're like very successful because they have like a very set, group of people that like have similar values, and they're working towards the same goals, and there's guidelines. There's all different ways to do it.
There are.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We're gonna try to hit a couple other people before we head out of here.
The guy I just mentioned, like the artist with the artist company. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And happy Pyro.
Happy Pyro.
So
So now we're sitting here with Chris Peters of Illumination Station, the regional manager for the Eastern chapter.
Yes, and general manager. There's a lot of stuff that we could talk about. I think the first thing to say is that Illumination Station Grassroots Education is a nonprofit that helps people teach each other, and we came about through these types of events. I don't know, probably about 15 years ago. I would have to check to see exactly, maybe 14 now, over in Minnesota at a similar type of gathering called, Harmony Park was the name of the event. There were a bunch of different gatherings.
Harmony Park,
Yep. Originally I think we first started doing this at the second Shangri-La.
Oh, wow.
Pretty sure. So basically we got together with some other people who were like-minded, and they had already been trying to do some educational stuff, and they had structure, they had ways to get into events, but they didn't have the skill set to include people, basically. the community itself, which obviously you can't do it without that. So, they had tried to put an event together or go to an event, and they had workshops, but no one had come because they weren't including the community. So we got in contact with them, originally online through Wookiefoot. They were reaching out looking for people who had ideas for ways to make their events more family friendly or just better, more constructive. And we mentioned workshops, and some other people did, and then a couple of weeks went by and got a contact from a gentleman who asked us if we were serious about it. And we said, yeah. Turns out he had a dome, one of the ones we still have, and had access to get into Harmony. He was friends with Mark and JoJo. So he hooked up with us, and we started doing these events. Since then, we've expanded to do them across a good chunk of the country. And Pyro is one of the events we've been doing for quite a few years now. We like these sorts of events because they're more community-oriented. Some people use the word transformational, but that really just means that they're focusing on people being together, doing something constructive, learning a skill, working through a problem.
Community.
Yeah, exactly. Being a community together instead of just going to an event so they can be on vacation. Not that it's not vacation, but and so we started out with just a handful of people, and because we were really focusing on the grassroots part, we just made sure we were always telling everybody we saw, hey, you can participate too. Hey, you can do this. You could teach, or you could just come and help. And so as we grew, we developed a pretty big community. We've got hundreds of people that have worked with us over the years, and they'll still contact us, out of the blue. Even now, when we're not doing too many events after COVID, we'll still get people call us up, talk to us. We go visit them. Really did build quite a bit of community. So we were mostly working out of Minnesota, living in South Dakota. And then we moved across the country to Pennsylvania, which is where we were originally from. And we left a chapter out in Minnesota and brought one here. So we've been doing a good chunk of probably about a quarter of the country or so right now we're covering. And we'd like to eventually open more, but because it's grassroots, it just depends on how much time everybody has. These things can be pretty complicated. As you grow, you need a lot of support staff off stage, people to do mundane tasks and stuff. And when you're a true nonprofit, and you're not big enough to have a lot of money coming through to pay a person to do those things, that can be very difficult. But that's part of the community building. You've got to bring these people in, and you've got to figure out what their wants and desires are in terms of community and education, and then help them achieve them. And that's really what we're here to do. I feel like people don't understand how much work it takes to do these sorts of things. I'll spend weeks getting ready for this, not getting sleep, not doing other things, still be late, miss. I haven't seen a band yet this weekend. But the educational aspect, the ability to share with the people in the community something that is meaningful to them is just, it's just a really powerful thing. It makes me very happy. And I think that's why a lot of people work with us. Just seeing a person. I remember there's a gentleman, he's a manager with us now, actually. And when he first started working with us, the joy that he had learning things. He didn't know he could come to something like this and learn stuff. And he came back every single event and spent almost the whole weekend with us. And just the joy of someone who leaves going, look at this new skill I have, or this thing I made, or this knowledge that I can take back in my real world that's going to make a difference is, I think, the real essence of community. And I think that's what keeps us doing this. Yeah. We don't get anything out of it other than that experience. Going to the events, I guess. But like I said, I don't know when the last time I went to an event was. Yeah. I think I saw Wookiefoot last Pyro. Regardless, so that's pretty much the gist of it. It's really just about trying to figure out how you get all the levers working so you can coordinate all these people helping each other, because you might have an event in Minnesota where you might have 10 teachers and 8 staff and a couple hundred people that come through, but you may also have one in Maryland. And that's, obviously a whole different group of people. It's a whole different, you've got to build a network of community and volunteers in each of these individual places. And they can move between them with you, but you've got to build that community where you're at physically. You've got to be there. Sometimes that's by phone. We do have community off stage, but the really getting the people together to teach each other can only happen when you're physically together. And so, every time you go to a new area or whatever, you've got to kind of build that community up again, because you don't have people there who are aware of what it is that, not just your organization, but that type of community building necessarily. And maybe you do, but you've got to go find them. So it's really just depending on the type of events you go to. One of the nice things about music festivals, they're so varied. Some of them are far more, like this one, focused on community, and it's not hard to find those people and do those things. Other ones, it can be very difficult, and you can spend years trying to build a community in an event or in an area that is deep enough to allow you to continue to do this sorts of stuff without struggling because they might not be focused on this type of activity. So I think it's really important to, not everybody wants to build community at an event that's not physically in the community they live in. And a lot of what we're doing is finding those people and trying to figure out how to build those things, how to convince people that it's valuable to them to participate. And I think that's a big part of what grassroots education does, is it gives you a really open-ended way to get into that, because if you want to teach, you can teach anything, any format, any topic, and at any skill level. So if you want to do like introduction group talk to I like cats, everybody comes to talk about how much they like cats, you can do that. Or you could be an environmental scientist, you can come in and teach environmental science. And as a doctor or whatever, we've done that too. So it just depends. And I think that lets people come in that wouldn't come in otherwise, and then start to see the value of community. So that's pretty much that.
Yeah, I think I met you, it was 2018 at Sweetgrass and Sageburn. I was already working with I was with a crew that was like putting on the festival, and I'd done workshops with them the year before, but they hired Illumination Station that year. And when I got to talk to you, I was excited to like meet you and like work with you. And I've done events with Illumination Station every year since then, except for 2020.
Yeah, I think so. Yep, we didn't do anything that year. Yeah, and this is the sort of thing, because we get all kinds of different people in. So in this case, like someone who was working as a volunteer manager talked to him and helped get him involved. A lot of times, in the case of someone like Mike here, like they're basically involved before I ever meet them, because we're building a community and I don't need to be there. We had people, a perfect example, the woman who was our volunteer coordinator who got Mike involved, she got involved because another girl went to an event in Wisconsin and told her about it, and they got excited. So it's like it's like a chain of events. The more people in the community, the better you can build the community. Yeah. So that's a big part of it. It's just the engagement, and then making sure you meet their needs. We meet their needs partially through letting them teach whatever they need, but also partially through trying to promote the things that they're doing separately, so that they're getting something. We're building their community too. They're just not building a community around us. Yeah. And I think that's a really big part of it. Is the community is not built around one organization or person or event. Yeah. It's the people there. And so you've got to find out how to integrate them so that they're still getting a say and or getting the things they need out of the experience in a productive way.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, it's good to be here again with you at Pyro.
Very excited.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll do many more.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Thanks for joining us in the forest. If you felt a spark, share this episode and leave a review. It helps grow the mycelial network.
Follow our journey on Facebook and TikTok at Soulfire Forest. And until next time, stay rooted and radiant.